I went to a Bible conference called MIBF, Macedonia International Bible Fellowship, with Bishop Kenneth Omer, and I was there with some amazing people. I went to a class with one of my amazing First Lady friends. Her name is Myesha Chaney, the First Lady of the Antioch Church of Long Beach, and her class was on Behind the Title. Now, I know many of us say, oh, I'm not identified by what I do, but then there are some people who you are definitely identified by what you do. How much of your title becomes who you are? Are you working for God and purpose, or are you working because you're feeding a deep need to be needed? What does it feel like to go to church and no one comes up to you and say, oh, can you pray for me? Oh, can you sing for me? Oh, can you do this for me? What would that feel like to you? Would you say, oh, that's great, because now I can come to church and sit down and be fed? Or would you say, what's wrong with me because nobody needs me? More than the people need you, God needs you. The scripture that says, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth fruit in its season. That means when God has something for us to do, it will come in time. And as long as we're planted by the rivers of water, we're always fed by the river. Christ is who feeds us. That's who feeds every need that we have, not our families, not us being first ladies or pastors or leaders or business owners or bosses, as a lot of us call ourselves these days. Who is feeding you? What is feeding you? And why is it feeding you? Once you figure out your why, it's very much easier to exist in your what you do. You know, why are you doing it is so very important. Is it for the Father? Is it for you? Because you need acceptance, because you need validation, because it feeds a deep desire to be wanted and needed. What is happening and why is it happening? It was such an amazing time with some other believers who are at phases and stages in their life that requires change. And so when you've been identified as one thing for so long and now you're shifting, it takes some time. And sometimes you just need to sit back, take every title off, every single one, and identify yourself only as a child of God, planted by the rivers of water that bring forth fruit in its season. In your season, you'll bring forth fruit. Maybe now's not your season, and it's okay to recharge in the middle of that time. It's okay to refresh and regroup, and sometimes put the titles down. It's okay not to be needed. I'm telling you, it's not the end of the world, because God always needs you, and he always wants you, and he always desires you, and he always wants communion with you, and he always wants to love on you, and he always wants to build you up, and he always wants to talk to you. Yes, the Father wants to talk to you, to speak to you. I loved the class yesterday. It was called Behind the Title. So take a moment and ask yourself, who am I behind the title that I have? Thank you, Myesha Chaney. I told you I was going to talk about you on my show. Griff, when I tell you that thing had me scribbling like a crazy person, sometimes our titles are our idols. Man, that thing blessed me so good. But it allowed me to look at myself differently in a way that's easier to refresh and easier to put things down. You've got to learn to be in ministry and work in ministry, but at the same time, be a human. I'm Erica.